What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners for today's 8-game NBA main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com and presented by SuperDraft. It's been a tough few days in the NBA, but we've got some good news today with Giannis Antetokounmpo being out. You could play literally any Milwaukee Buck and expect him to have a decent day. So let's get that power of positivity back in the air. And right now, please hit that like button. And also, if you want your chance to win a free month of Osmo Plus, courtesy of SuperDraft, like this video and comment your top value play according to Draftkings salaries down below. Yesterday, a bunch of you guessed Pirtle correctly, so I'll announce that winner later on. If you want to join that person at the pay window, like this video and comment your top value play down below. But even when everything changes, the second before I start producing this video, we've got no time to waste here in the Four Corners. So let's get right into our first corner of the top owned plays and Jaylen Brown in a game at Miami where there's 108.3 implied points for Boston. Jaylen's got 32% expected ownership on Draftkings while he has 33% on FanDuel. Brown averages just under 1.1 fantasy points per minute with Jason Tatum out of the lineup, and he's reasonably priced industry-wide, but Kemba Walker sees the bigger boost without Tatum, so Jaylen may not be as much of a must-have as his ownership currently dictates. Another top-owned play today looks like Kyle Lowry in a game versus Atlanta where there's 122.5 implied points for Toronto. Lowry has 26% expected ownership on Draftkings while he has 24% on FanDuel. Lowry is now cheaper industry-wide than Fred VanVleet with some down games lately, but a great matchup against Atlanta's 110.7 defensive rating and faster pace, but some risk he underperforms with a mostly healthy Toronto lineup. And a top-owned play who's only going to go up from here is Chris Middleton in a game versus Washington where there's 130 implied points for Milwaukee. Middleton has 22% expected ownership on Draftkings while he has 15% on FanDuel. As I mentioned, Giannis is ruled out right before production of this video, so Middleton's ownership is yet to be updated, but Middleton should be an incredibly chalky play with a reasonable price and a 1.5 fantasy point per minute average without Giannis this year. And now for our next corner, here are the top value plays on the slate, starting with Eric Bledsoe in that same game versus Washington where there's 130 implied points for Milwaukee. Bledsoe also averages 1.5 fantasy points per minute without Giannis on the court in a pristine matchup against Washington's 114 defensive rating and comparably fast pace. Another top value today looks like Ersan Ilyasova in that game versus Washington where there's 130 implied points for Milwaukee. Ilyasova is near minimum prices and he averages 1.1 fantasy points per minute without Giannis on the court this year, with 42 and 47 fantasy points in 2 starts for Giannis just a month ago. And our last top value play looks like Derek Favors in a game at Cleveland where there's 120.3 implied points for New Orleans. Favors is at a particularly great price on FanDuel with a role that seems among the least affected by Zion Williamson's addition to the lineup and a Cleveland matchup that could require his size. And now into our next corner, here are some other core plays that I'm looking at today, starting with Devontae Graham in a game versus the Knicks where there's 104.5 implied points for Charlotte. Graham is priced well industry-wide in a game that should have a low pace, but could see him score and assist at a high level going against the Knicks' 110.7 defensive rating. Another core play today for me is Kemba Walker in the game at Miami where there's 108.3 implied points for Boston. Kemba averages 1.3 fantasy points per minute with Jason Tatum out of the lineup this year, and he'll be far less owned than Jaylen Brown, who's at a better price but sees less of a benefit from Tatum's absence. And another core play you should try to get to is Nikola Jokic in a game at Memphis where there's 111.3 implied points for Denver. Jokic is over 51 fantasy points in 6 out of his last 8 games, and he averages a triple-double in his last 5 games against Jonas Valanciunas in a matchup that Vegas projects to be competitive. And now for our last corner, here are some lower-owned dart throws that I'm looking at, starting with Fred VanVleet in that game versus Atlanta where there's 122.5 implied points for Toronto. VanVleet's price is up, but he's a lower-owned pivot to a likely much higher-owned Kyle Lowry in a matchup versus Atlanta that will benefit him just as much. Another lower-owned dart throw that I would look at today is Brook Lopez in that game versus Washington where there's 130 implied points for Milwaukee. Lopez doesn't gain as much of a boost from Giannis' absence as some of the other guys, but he's priced well in a pace-up against Washington's weak defense. He's likely to be amongst the least owned Milwaukee players despite their massive team total. And our last lower-owned dart throw is a fun one. It's Zion Williamson in that game at Cleveland where there's 120.3 implied points for New Orleans. Zion will have a good chunk of ownership on FanDuel, but he projects for much less on Draftkings with him up to 27 minutes last game with a monster 1.5 fantasy point per minute average thus far that, admittedly, may be due for some negative regression with a 67% shooting from the floor so far. So that's what I'm seeing so far for today's slate. That looks like it should be a fun one. So right now, please hit that like button if you want your chance to win a free month of Osmo Plus courtesy of SuperDraft. Like this video and comment your top value play according to Draftkings salaries down in the comments below. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, a bunch of people guessed Pirtle correctly, but only one person can win, and you can see the winner right here. It's Daniel Burke. So Daniel, email me at chris@osmo.com to collect your prize right now. And if you haven't yet, today's a really good day to check out SuperDraft right now at superdraft.io or download SuperDraft from the App App Store and use that promo code OSMO to get yourself $20 free with a deposit of $100 or more when you sign up. So go right now to SuperDraft, and again, it's very easy to build lineups on there with the multiplier format where you could pick any players. Pick the Bucks today, pick Eric Bledsoe, pick Chris Middleton, pick Ersan Ilyasova with a very big multiplier. It's a very simple game, very easy for you to get in there and win. So go right now and check out their big tournament today with 4.5K up top, $4,500 for the winner. So check them out right now at superdraft.io or via SuperDraft at the App Store. And we have SuperDraft projections as well as all the other data you would want on this slate if you use this promo code LIV in honor of Super Bowl 54 coming up this weekend. If you do that right now, you can get yourself 30 days of an all-access platinum pass to all of our data at Osmo.com for just $54. So go right now to Osmo.com/join and use that promo code LIV for 30 days of all of our data for just $54. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I've got a lot of content for the NBA as well as the Super Bowl coming out this week. So check out what I'm doing right now on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. Tonight on Live Before Lock, we should have Fast Eddie Fear and Chris Randone. So tune in then. Of course, I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for another Four Corners. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoy this happy Milwaukee Bucks day. A great way to heal after a few tough days of NBA watching. But I'll see you guys again soon. So enjoy your nights and good luck.